Okay, so we're starting off with 2 strands of yarn. The pink is the thoroughbred yarn that you get cheap in Spotlight for the Australians in the audience. The white, which you can see has sparkly bits in it, is older than I am, and I got it from a thrift store, but it's called Cocktail. It's a 5-ply. It's an old panda yarn. I'm pretty sure you can't still get it, but you can probably get something similar if you are really desperate to copy exactly what I'm doing. However, it doesn't matter how thick your yarn is. It doesn't matter if you use 2 strands or 3 strands or 12 strands. Well, don't do that. That wouldn't be that wouldn't be very good. But you can get away with whatever you want to do, as long as I'm using upside down. Oh, it's not going to focus. Here we go. Anyway, it's a 6.5mm hook. It doesn't, again, matter what size hook you use as long as it's about right for your thickness of yarn and your personal tension, which will depend a lot on you. So I can't tell you what to use. But the idea is you're going to start your chain. Whoop, don't mind me. Totally out of frame there. Anyway. Start with a slip knot, and then start making a chain. Now, this will depend entirely on the thickness of your yarn, the thickness of your hook, and the size of your head, which, of course, I can't replicate here because I only have the one head. But you want to make a chain, and it needs to be springy, and you'll understand if you haven't done this before when you get to the end of it. And say hello to the cat, by the way. But it needs to be long enough to go around the part of your head that the brim of the band of your hat's going to be sitting on, and it needs to be fairly stretchy, or you won't be able to get it on your head, which would be a disaster, obviously. Do excuse my inability to keep this in the frame. But anyway, you'll keep chaining, and you can see how this 2 strands looks really cool because it sort of varies between the 2 colours. And, well, I think it looks really cool. I don't know what you guys think. But anyway, you want to do this, and I'll just knock the camera out of the way. But you want to do this until you get a chain long enough, and now this is nowhere near long enough, obviously. But until you get a chain long enough to go around your head. So I'm going to leave you to do that, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I have 50 chains, and your number of chains will depend entirely on the size of your head, the size of your hook, the size of your yarn, and the size of your gauge, and whether or not your cat is determined to be a star of this video. You can see that when you pull it, it stretches, not hugely, but just enough to just enough so that when you try to pull it on, it won't be uncomfortable or fall off your head or anything else like that. Anyway, you got your 52 chains, so you very carefully make sure that your chain is not twisted slowly so that the cat doesn't attack you, and come back to this chain. And what you do is you get that in there somehow, if you will. Either way, you're going through these top 2. You don't have to go through the top 2. You can go through any 2. You can go through 1 if you want a nice neat edge. I don't really care because I think you get slightly better elasticity out of a single edge, but you then join the 2 with a slip stitch like so that the cat does not attack you, and then chain 2. 1, 2. Then you're going to yarn over, and in every stitch along, if the cat would get out of the way there, you're going to go into every stitch. We're not, and like I say, any 2 hooks, any 2 loops on top of the yarn, you can see, on top of the hook. Obviously there'll be 4 strands total because you're holding 2. Anyway, every stitch, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through, upset the cat as much as possible. Again, you know how to do this, like, I mean, I'm assuming you know how to do this, which may be, but there's better videos on how to do a basic crochet stitch. This is not the point of this video. But you can see it's cute, right? Like with the 2 strands. But once you've, you need to just go all the way around, and then when you come to the end of the row, you will slip stitch into this first chain, chain 2, and keep going around. You could turn your work if you want to, but you don't really have to. It's not going to be necessary. Anyway, come around, do a couple of rows, and we'll come back to it, and I'll show you how you close up the hat. Okay, so I'm just coming up on the last stitch of my last row, and I'll show you how long this is in a moment. The cat's back again. The work so far has taken me about an hour. I haven't sat and done it for an hour. Just in case you're wondering how you join, if you've never worked in the round before, which, you know, that'll be unfortunate for you, but you just go through that 1, 2, remember we did 2 stitches, that's the top one, pull it through and pull it through. I'm certain you know this, but there you have it. So you've joined off, you've joined your last row, and I've got, pull this away a bit, about this much work. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I counted 9 before, don't mind me. 8 rows. Now, you'll figure this out by trying it on your head and seeing if it's long enough for you, and that's kind of a trial and error thing. This is not hugely slouchy, but I don't really want it to be because it's quite heavy because of the 2 strands of yarn. It's also quite wide, you might have noticed, because my white yarn is not especially stretchy. You don't get a huge amount of stretch from the yarn in any case, but you get enough that it does matter if your yarn isn't at all stretchy. Anyway, moving right along. So now you're going to chain 1 into the next row, and instead of going into every stitch, you're just going to do a single crochet, skip 1, and do a single crochet into the next stitch. And skip 1, and single crochet into the next stitch. And as you go around, you'll see that the hat closes up pretty quickly. That said, you do get a little bit of height from closing up, because obviously you're still making more stitches. So, you know, do stop a little bit before the full, like, don't make it so long, as long as you want it, and then close up. Make it, you know, about an inch short. It's not gonna, it will close up fairly quickly. You'll be surprised. But it still will add some height. So keep going and come back when you've closed up and you're going, oh, why is this hole here? And I'll show you why the hole's here. Alright, so I've been going around skipping every other stitch, single crochet in every other stitch for a little while now. And you can see the hat's closing up and the stitches are getting elongated, and that's what you want. That's supposed to happen. But I'm running out of this white yarn. Obviously, it was a very small ball. It was only half a ball anyway. So, in case you do the same, I'm going to show you how you attach the next piece. And this is very complicated and terrifying, and you won't like it at all. But all you do, hook that over, or rather, move as if you're going to make your next stitch. So that's skip 1, and into the next stitch. Pull these over, and at the same time get your end from your new ball, hold it over, so you're holding all three with the tail end for the new ball on this side of your hook. Pull all three through the loop, pull it out to complete your stitch, and then ignore the other one, it'll go inside the hat, and grab your new two from your new ball and your old ball, and that's as easy as that. Alright, so we're coming up to the end now. You can see we've got a little hole here. We've still got a few more stitches to go, so we keep going through these. This is the point where it gets a little bit on the tricky side, because you are going to have to maneuver stuff around, because the stitches are quite long and the hole is quite small. So you can see how hard I'm having to pinch it up there. It's, you know, you'll get it. It's not difficult, really. It's just a little bit on the awkward side. So skip another one, and in there. And let's see. I think we're sort of, oh no, we can try one more. Skip that one and go into this one. I can't see. Don't mind me. Alright, so you get to this point. You've got sort of just a little hole here. Now, you could keep trying to go around forever, but you'll end up with an unattractive point. And also, it's not something you really want to sit doing. So, once you get to this stage where you've only got a sort of small hole, pick the stitch opposite your hook. So, for me, that's that one. Go through it. Awkwardly double yeah, you can see it. Yeah, let's try that one again. Do try to get your yarn behind the hook before you start. Just close that up like that, and then knock the video camera over while you try to cut the yarn end off. That's always the way to do things. But anyway, cut your yarn end off, give yourself a little bit of space to tie it off. Pull that out to fasten off. And then you'll take your hook up here and see, and that's on the inside of the hat, and just pull it through whatever hole's convenient. Don't laugh. Don't laugh at that. That wasn't funny. Anyway, so then it'll be on the inside of your hat. You can turn your hat inside out, tie a knot here, and if you are really desperate to weave the ends in, you probably could. I'm going to tie 2 knots just to be really safe, because it would be really unfortunate to have your hat unravel on you while you were wearing it. But if you are desperate to weave your ends in, you can do that. No one's going to see the inside of my hat, so I'm just going to cut it off there. I will weave this end in, but I should really have worked it in when I started, but I always forget. And either way, there is your finished hat. And that's it, you're done. Well done, you. Just as a sort of additional note to this is the one we just did. Well, I just did. You probably did a different one. But anyway, these other two are done in exactly the same fashion, sort of. Except this one is done in single crochet, going into the back loops only, in a spiral round. So the rounds aren't joined, they're only... If you've ever done amigurumi, you know what I'm talking about. It's done in a spiral. You don't change rounds. Either way, you'll figure. I'm sure if you know what I'm talking about, then you'll know what I'm talking about. If you don't, then that's beyond the scope of what I'm talking about. This one's done with a really, really heavy yarn, one strand, although it's dual coloured, and it's done in a single crochet as well, in the same style as the other one, but going into both loops. So there's, with the one formula, you can do a lot of different things, and obviously you can pick your colours, pick your yarns. Yeah, so you've got a lot of choice. It's a very versatile pattern for a very basic hat that you can wear in a lot of different ways. And that's that.